Last year, Jordan Szoke dominated an abbreviated Canadian Superbike Championship tour. Unbeaten on his way to his incredible 14th career national road racing crown. In 2021, Jordan of the Jungle faces a strong field of young challengers and wily veterans. Can our king be crowned again? Hello everyone, and welcome to Calabogie Motorsports Park. Welcome to the 2021 CSBK National Road Race Championships. The CSBK 2021 Tour is presented by Mopar, Joe Rocket, and Yuasa Battery.
Our first warm-up lap of the season. Of course, it's been a relaxing 11-month break, so the guys are definitely ready to get going again. We had a strong Yuasa Battery's pole position effort yesterday, and of course, Ben Young came out on top on the new BMW. It was quite exciting. We're going to start seeing our grid for today's race. Busy first turn frequently at Calabogie Motorsports Park. You can see we're getting into the heavy hitters at the front of the field. We'll move on to row 3, and you can see Guerin, Leon, and Daly, who are all potential winners. So deep field, and standing out there is Sébastien Tremblay, who's on a Kawasaki 600.
Do you find any surprise with Dumas, his qualifying effort, Colin?
I think the issue with Dumas, of course, he caused a stoppage at the start of qualifying and had to scramble to get out on his spare bike. So I think it's, fourth on the grid is actually a very strong effort. Might be fifth on the grid. Fifth on the grid is a very strong effort. But yeah, the first few were very, very close together.
Here we go.
This 2-minute lap.
IBEW lights are coming on. When those lights are all on, the riders are focused on them. When the lights go off, we will be starting. We have done it, and it looks like Szoke has got the whole shot on that. Man, he got out of the hole in a hurry. And down into turn 1 they go, and I believe that is Tommy Kazas and Ben Young. No, Ben's back a little further.
Yeah, Young had a terrible start. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, the man on the move is Kazas, who missed the entirety of last season, and of course, most recently was on the podium in the rain at Atlantic Motorsport Park. So this is a confirmation of the pace of that R1 at the start of the 2021 season.
Look at this. The train comes up and over the hill. Did we mention, by the way, that Szoke has never been beaten here before? It looks like... Yes, it was. It was Dumas that made the move up there and passed into second spot. Dumas on the move already.
So if the question was, what is the ultimate pace of Dumas, who's rejoined or come to the Canadian Series for the first time after seasons doing very well in Moto America, I think we can safely say he has the ultimate pace here. Of course, Jordan is the man to beat and has, as you said, not been beaten here at Calabogie, and that stretches back a long way, 2008.
And running in third right now, Tommy Kazas on the Parts Canada, Yamaha Canada sponsored R1, and he one of the riders that did not appear in the 2020 season, and obviously he's come right back up to speed, as has Ben Young, who also passed on last year.
Plunging downhill into what is arguably the most technical part of a very, very technical track, and that is Dumas all over the back of Jordan Szoke. This is where Dumas crashed in qualifying, bringing out the red flag, and now we go into the tightest section before we charge up the hill into a crazy fast portion of the track, and I think that's Young in fourth, and I believe it's Samuel Guerin in fifth on his BMW.
So Guerin is on the move. We've been waiting for this one. We saw a brilliant effort from him last year at this very racetrack, and again at Mosport or Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and all eyes and anticipation have been on how well that young Quebec rider will do this year.
Dumas was sizing up Szoke, and we had Young sizing up Tom on the Yamaha, so lots of pressure on the first lap, and of course when they haven't raced in 11 months, we're going to be a little bit careful right off the bat. And there we can see the running order. Daly doing quite well. Tremblay on that 600, remarkable effort in front of Leon, who is a potential front runner, was on the podium here last year. So yeah, lots of pace early in the race, very encouraging for everyone. But the story right now has to be Dumas, first ever Canadian Superbike race, first ever participation in the CSBK round in any class. class.
Yeah, welcome home, Alex. Running in 9th spot is Ivan Babic. We saw him out on the ice this past winter. And Jordan Royd's holding on to 10th spot there. He is a pro rookie, and he's picked up some sponsorship from IBEW. Szoke continues to leave over Dumas, Casas, Young, and Garand, though. Those are our top 4 right now. Top 5, I should say, right now, as they peel off into that left-hander.
And Garand's kind of hanging on by his fingernails. He's part of the back of this conversation, and Daly too. So that's encouraging for those guys. But with the pace being so hot at the front, it's going to be a lot harder to pass than, say, last year when they were maybe a second and a half off what they're doing right now. Track conditions are much better this year than last year. It was incredibly hot last season, but the pace is certainly more intense.
But still, we're well off the lap record, Colin, that was set some years ago here at this racetrack. Dumas is definitely staying with Szoke. Going to school on him is this young man.
And Kazaz also there, and probably the person learning the most, because definitely Dumas' riding style is slightly different, just enough that you can notice it, and Kazas would be the guy who can really see what's going on there. A lot of pressure here, and of course Dumas' situation is normally one you don't want to be in an 18-year-old. You're trying to get past the guy in front, but trying to hold off 2 very fast riders behind. And of course 3rd and 4th right now are the 2 racers who didn't participate in 2020.
Quite so. Great view of Alex Dumas on that GSXR. The Liqua Moly picking up the sponsorship, and he's also getting some help from the Fast School in Shannonville, where he's a teacher down there. So now with Tommy Casas watching the action up front with Dumas chasing Szoke here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, round 1 of 2021. We'll be right back. Closed captioning of this broadcast are brought to you in part by Godrich Toyota, Traction, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Revs for Ret, CSBK's official charity.
Following this battle for the lead, and it is terrific. Everybody maybe exercising a small amount of caution, but look at Dumas changing up his line, looking for a way by as they head to the far end of the track, Frank.
Up and over the hill they come, and it is Dumas now on the move. He is pulled out, and he is right beside now. He has made the pass, if I'm not mistaken. Colin will follow him down into this one. Yes, sir. Alex Dumas has the lead of this race.
Ducked under our leader, Szoke, in the braking zone at the far end of the track there. Very decisive move. Nice to see. Of course, we really don't know how Dumas is going to play. It's his first race with us. Here you can see the rearward-facing camera from Jordan Szoke. There's the Suzuki Dumas wheeling over the hill there. So a little bit of traction control, but not complete. And watch just as Jordan's front end drops all the way with the brakes on. Dumas decisively by on the inside, picks up the line. And look at that. He's got a little bit of an edge already.
No kidding. Tommy Casas still running in 3rd spot, and he's going to school. And now Ben Young has joined the fray as well. So he had a very difficult start and is trying to make up for that. But Dumas is getting some distance here. Szoke now torquing it up a bit and staying with Dumas. So we have changed positions entirely here. But Dumas definitely got the lead here. Colin, he has really got the pedal down.
And the question is, with the pace the way it is, where do you pass? Last year we had sort of a couple of specific spots where most of the passes happened. This year people don't seem to be as comfortable because the pace has increased. So we found out there is one spot there breaking through Sir John A. That's actually the name of the corner.
Are they going to change that too?
I can't vouch for the politics of corner naming, but yeah, Dumas with actually a slight edge and building steadily. And of course, this is what you want to do when you finally get to the front. You want to put the hammer down and discourage your pursuers from thinking they can keep up. But Jordan was pretty good through this section. You can see him working on the edge of the tire, and Jordan's looking maybe not quite as comfortable as we're used to.
You know this track intimately, Colin. Does this track afford the riders the kind of drafting advantages that we see at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park?
No, because it's not as much prolonged high speed. It's not a stop and go track, but it is a little more stop and go. CTMP, of course, is the ultimate in terms of slipstreaming, because it's almost impossible to break free. And of course, right now Dumas is attempting to break free, and really they're equal distant at the front. And as much as Young got a bad start, he is part of the discussion. The question is, where are the passes, and at this pace, can you make a pass work? And we saw Dumas try one thing that worked pretty well. I love this shot. You really watch the front end on Jordan Szoke's motorcycle, and here we're heading downhill into one of the most exciting pieces of track we have here in Canada.
And Casas continuing his pursuit, although he is slightly off the pace of Szoke right now. Young is right there as well, but this has obviously become a 4-horse race. Colin and Szoke and company have now closed the distance just a little bit on Dumas.
Last year, the pace at the front was high 203s. Right now, we're in the mid 202s. That is meaningful, but it's also meaningful, Frank. This is a very long lap, one of the longest laps in racing at well over 2 minutes, and these guys are staying this close together. It shows you really good competition at the front of the field. You can see Guerin is pretty far back in 5th, and Daly's still hanging in with Guerin, but this looks like a 4-horse race. Once again, we're on board this time, having a good look at the back of...
I think that's Tommy Kazas just in front of us,
the
and we're on board with Ben Young then, yeah, on the 86 machine.
There's the top 4. Of course, the 4th place bike, we only see his front wheel.
Great camera work, though, all around. The cameras at both trackside and on board the motorcycles, the static cameras, and I understand...
Watch Young here.
Has he got a move going on? Oh, yeah, he's got him. Young moves into 3rd spot, or does he? Let's pick up on this once more. No, he didn't. He didn't get him.
So he did what everybody seems to be trying to do, is just reverse the math in a section where you turn left and right and are on and off the brakes.
Look at that.
And I think Young was just a little too hot into turn 2, and that opened the door back up, and good for Tommy, because he managed to duck right back underneath.
Tommy Kazas and Ben Young perfectly side by side there.
So let's go on board here with Young, and we're looking at the back of that 3rd place R1 as he powers by, and this was, of course, the reverse. Dumas really went on the brakes on the right, and Young really got the drive to the left, but in the same section of track, 2 different methods.
Quite so. Young getting past Kazas now and has given himself a bit of a cushion. Now he sets his sights firmly on that green Kawasaki in front of him, that being, of course, our 14-time champion, Jordan Szoke. Meanwhile, Szoke still pacing himself with Dumas.
And we've never seen a battle between Szoke and Young at the front of the pack before. This is completely new experience for the series.
Never before. CSBK will be right back from Calabogie Motorsports Park. Back to Calabogie Motorsports Park with Dumas leading Szoke and Young and Kazas. Daly has moved up into 5th spot on the other Suzuki. And just before the races got started here at Calabogie, we had a chance to sit down and talk to the young man that wears the number 23 and is leading this national championship race, Alex Dumas.
My hopes for this year racing in CSBK and Superbike would be, I would love to win the championship. I mean, I've won already 2 championships in Motor America in 2018 and 19. So for sure, I'd love to win another championship. I want to try my best to always be on top of what I can do.
And what Dumas can do right now is starting to build a lead over Jordan Szoke, who's under a lot of pressure from Ben Young. Meanwhile, Kazas on the Yamaha is part of the conversation, but starting to drift back. So the battle right now, Frank, is definitely for second between the Kawasaki and the BMW, our 2 most recent national champions.
And again, as you commented, we have seen these 2 guys at it before, and we've seen them with the gloves off, so we're in for a dandy here. If it has to be for second spot, so be it. But hopefully they're... competition between the 2 of them, Colin, will bring them back up into competition with Alex Dumas.
Yeah, at this point it's risky, because you wonder, is Dumas holding his pace, right? Is he comfortable enough with a little over a second in the lead that he can just hatch this one? And you hope not. You hope that these guys can pour it on. But yeah, actually, Frank, they've caught up just a little tiny bit in those few turns, and that tells you all about Calabogie, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so technical. If you make a little mistake, it can manifest itself over several corners while you're trying to get lined up and be in the right position in terms of your timing.
Let's not forget also that Dumas ended up on his backside at trackside during qualifying, and as a result of that, they had to send him out on his B bike. That's why he started so far back, but he's learned his limit, I guess is what I'm getting at here, Colin.
And it's interesting to think that last year there was some good dicing at the front, but the only rider from last year's battle for the lead here is Szoke. Everybody else is further back or not in contention. So Szoke pretty handily won the 2 races in 2020 here to start off his abbreviated championship season, and this this year we've been much delayed due to COVID concerns, but the boys have definitely rolled up their sleeves, and the pace is really something as we go on board with Ben Young, who's trying to reverse the math again to try and get by Szoke.
Well, Ben and Jordan are trying to get at it. Meanwhile, Casas, Daly, and Tremblay are all three of them having very lonely rides back there, but hats off to Tremblay as he continues to excel on that Turcotte Performance 636 Kawasaki. He simply shouldn't be there. He's got superbikes with much more horsepower in behind him.
And we should mention the departure of Guerin. He was running a solid 5th at the back of the lead group, and he had an issue with his oil cooler and was forced to pull off. So that's discouraging for the big breakout star of last season in CSBK.
Yeah, carrying the camera for us he was, as well as you'll remember during qualifying we had some live coverage at Calabogie Motorsports Park here, and it was Michael Leon that had a camera on board that BMW, Royal Distributing BMW, and getting some live footage. First time we've ever done that, Colin.
And Leon has actually had a problem. He's been briefly off track, and he is now behind Babic, so 7th place for Babic right now. Excellent result at our opener.
Leon on and off, everything okay there, but it is Young, the man that I'm watching right now. He is poised. This is like watching a nature show where you got the snake all coiled up and you know he's going to strike any moment, and it's going to happen, I believe. Braveheart having a good look at him now from that camera on the back of Jordan Szoke's Kawasaki. He moves up, not happening just yet.
And last year this was a passing spot. A lot of big moves happened, but we haven't really seen much. You can see he's shopping and Jordan's moving over. Also, Frank, got to mention Ben Young. This is the first time he has been in a race at this track. Same with Dumas. Neither of them have ever competed at any level at this track in any class.
Well, that shows you what a professional road racer, professional sports person can do, adapting very, very quickly to the game field.
Hard on the brakes on that Ben Young BMW as they head through turn 1. Now you go by with your shoulder just about brushing that concrete wall into turn 2, and this section here gets complicated. There's several different ways to do it, and your exit speed in this next turn, you can see Young changing up his line and trying to get the drive to try and pick off the guy in front of you right where we are now. We've seen 2 passes amongst the front runners in this exact section of the track.
Well, let's keep an eye then on Ben Young. I like the spot where you'll remember last year when Jeff Williams actually put a pass on Jordan Szoke coming up towards the bowl there, and it looked like Ben Young was going to replicate that, but we'll see how that plays out. Right now, as we watch this battle going on, we'll be right back to Calabogie Motorsport Park, Round 1, 2021. CSBK 2021 is presented by Mopar, Joe Rocket, and Yuasa Battery. Back to the action now as Szoke leading Ben Young, remembering that Dumas is sizably in the lead. You can just see him there as we are completing lap number 10 right now, Colin, and they head down into turn 1 once more.
And I wonder how frustrated Ben Young is, because he was our pole sitter, and of course there might be,
He's not frustrated any longer. He's got the inside line. He's got it. Braveheart has taken second spot away. I almost said he took the lead, but he took second spot there, and you notice Szoke, his back wheel rather, Ben Young, after making that pass, watch it, his steps out just a bit.
On board with Jordan Szoke. There's 3rd place Ben Young. He's committed. This is a daring pass into the corner they call Jacques, followed by Gilles. The key is right here where Young gets back across. Jordan's trying to duck under him and use the reverse line to try and get 2nd place back. It doesn't work. Young has now made it down to the far end of the track, still in 2nd, but Dumas is pretty far up the road, and there just isn't going to be enough time to catch Dumas unless he makes a mistake.
Well, Daly's up into 4th now. He has displaced Casas, so Tommy Casas slips down the leaderboard a bit, and Daly meanwhile has got the fire burning, and he's on the charge. And talk about fire burnings, I got a sneaking suspicion that Jordan Szoke is not very happy about being passed, and that we may see a return pass here, Colin.
But what I like is Young is hammered down right now. As soon as he got in front, he started pushing really hard. Of course, for the first time he has some clear track. Wow. It's not what he'd like to have. We're on board with Jordan Szoke watching Young, and Young is pushing all out. It may be too late, but he has not given up, and of course it's racing. You never can tell what happens. But yeah, Young's pace right now, and of course Ben Young is so smooth, it's not like he's riding sideways, but he is pushing very hard.
He's got a long way to go there. We just caught a glimpse of the Liqui Moly GSXR that Alex Dumas right there. You see him just going over the hill there. I don't know whether Ben's going to have enough time to catch him. And indeed, once Alex starts to get pit signals, things may change.
Only just over a lap to go, Frank. So I agree. It's unlikely much will come of it, but I do appreciate that Young is trying it.
No kidding.
Even if the chances are slim.
Yeah, that's Braveheart. That's the new Ben Young we talked about in 2019. And there he is again, all on his own in second spot. But you'll remember that incredible charge that he made at Atlantic Motorsport Park. He's got 1 lap left to do it. That is exactly 5.05 kilometers with 20 corners ahead of him.
And if you saw that shot where the leaders are coming onto the front straight, Daly was just in the back of that shot. So all things considered, given the challenges he's faced, including a crash first thing this morning, which was kind of scary, honestly, that he's in a solid 4th and sight of the leaders is very encouraging for the other Suzuki.
And
of Trevor.
And you know, with the new constructors championship within our CSBK championship, Suzuki's got a good start on things, rather, should Dumas and Daly finish in these positions.
Well, I think everybody was prepared to hand that title off to BMW given their performance over the last decade, but we have Leon back in 8th and Guerin has retired, so BMW are going to get points, but not to the degree it looks like Suzuki will. And of course, we haven't had 2 Suzukis at the front in quite some time.
Quite so. Tough break for Guerin, but a big day for Alex Dumas. We're bringing him home now. We're trusting he's going to make it all the way to the checkered, because don't forget it was actually in and around this section of the track where he had his get-off during qualifying.
Yeah, Dumas on that Suzuki, built by Patrice Goyette, who's built bikes for a number of our champions over the years. And then Willie Vass and Scott Cartier are responsible for that BMW. And it's, of course, the new gen BMW. This is the first time that officially Young has competed aboard the new machine.
Dumas now in through turn 15 on this 20-turn. So the checkered flag not quite in sight, and Ben Young continues to gain on him. Can we run this race maybe a couple of extra laps, Colin? I wonder, because Ben is definitely catching him. It's unfortunate that he didn't get on the gas a little bit earlier in this one.
Yeah, Young's lap times are solid, but it's all over bar the shouting.
Checkered flag is out, and Alex Dumas has scored his first Canadian National Championship Superbike win.
In his first attempt.
Welcome home, kid. Well, he certainly opened a lot of eyes in the United States of America, winning both the KTM Junior Cup, I think it was called, moved into the Twins class, won that, and was doing very well in Super Sport as well before he decided to come on home, get his pilot's license, and beat up on the kids at home meanwhile.
There we can see the top 2. Young slowing down to say hello, and a really great situation with Suzuki, BMW, and the new Kawasaki all represented on the podium. Now looking at our results boards in the first round of CSBK in 2021 and beyond the top 4 we've been discussing, worth noting a very good effort in his return to the series. Kazas on that Yamaha, Tremblay amazing on the 600, Babic, Leon, Fortin, and Royds. Definitely some strong outings there from Bernhardt, Van Eck, Matthews, and Guerin, of course, who had to retire.
I had a lot of fun today. Unfortunately, yesterday I kind of crashed a little bit in qualifying, so that was a little setback, but I was able to got 4th for the grid. So yeah, I just enjoyed it. Our first ever CSBK Superbike round. I loved it. I can't thank everyone enough. Nick Molly, MPG, Fast Riding School, Suzuki, the whole team, Patrice. Thank you very much. And yeah, I just had an awesome time. Congrats to Ben and Jordan. They rode great. And yeah, I'm just ready for the next round.
There you have your podium from round 1 of 2021 CSBK. We'll look forward to broadcasting again and presenting round 2, also from Calabogie. On behalf of myself, Frank Wood, my sidekick, Colin Fraser, and the entire CSBK crew, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.